Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm super excited to interview Paul. And Paul is a senior product manager at Startup Insider here in Berlin. And today we're going to talk about his journey from transitioning from sales to product management. Let's go! So just to start it out, you can introduce yourself in a few sentences. What was your journey like? How did it all start? So you studied business in university, your first job after uni, and what was your first touchpoint with product?
Thanks for inviting me, Maurice. I think your channel cuts into a real problem, which is that a lot of people don't do what they love today. And I think product is something that a lot of people are interested in, but don't really know how to get a hold of. And transitioning from sales to PM is the message I want to spread, because there are a lot of people in commercial that want to do something more like product. Basically, I studied bachelor's and master's in Copenhagen at Copenhagen Business School. People don't really know what they want to do after graduating. A lot of people want to go into banking or consulting. I wasn't really sure. So when I graduated, Corona was actually at its peak, and it wasn't very easy finding a job. So when I got an offer and it sounded pretty cool, I just took it. And that was being an account manager, which was both customer success and sales for a health tech scale-up from Denmark. They were growing a lot at this time. They were opening a German office. Especially in sales, it's a great feeling to close a deal when it's going well. You know, you have this like you have this high phase, you know, where everything's just going well and everyone's happy. But that kind of faded after, I think, six months or so, because I realized that, okay, sales is a crazy thrill. You have this adrenaline rush, but it's not really what I'm looking for. I'm not a person that's into daily business, into very operative, executing stuff. I rather look more broadly, more into the future and see how can we change something, how can we optimize something.
What did you do doing your sales job that made you realize you like to work in product, or you would like to solve problems and not to be involved in this day-to-day business? Maybe you can give us a bit context about this aha moment or this realization where you realized, I would like to work more on product stuff.
Yeah, so I caught myself doing a lot of things on the side as I was doing my daily sales job, which weren't part of the position, of course. So first of all, I did this innovation map with my friend where we kind of laid out all the possibilities of using data to optimize our services, learn more about our customers, our markets, and about the end customers, because it was B2B2C. I thought the role like this didn't make sense, so I actually made an organizational structure map of how we could split the role into different roles, how we could allocate responsibilities, communication channels and stuff like that. I did this big Miro board, kind of on the side, like, you know, that wasn't part of my job. And if I was actually surprised that my boss didn't tell me to cut the shit and like focus on sales, but I could afford it because I was actually doing a pretty good job as a sales manager. I reamed in a lot of revenue for him, so he was happy and like let me do my stuff. But he didn't really use it for anything. Like, I actually presented it to the management, but they were like, oh, okay, cool, but let's have you stick to sales. Key point where I really realized that product is something very cool is we had an issue with payment errors. And I immediately jumped on that because I had experience with this issue before from an e-commerce business. So I formed this team with people from product and data and commercial, where we sat down on a daily basis to estimate the impact of this problem, different options of solving it. Leading that team, I actually thought, okay, they're finally going to see that my value lies in something else than sales, maybe. But when we solved this issue, it was kind of laid aside. Okay, good job, we solved it, but that was it. Now go back to your daily business. That's when I reached out to my manager and said, okay, hey, you see that I want to do something else, right? I mean, I'm doing a good job, but that should give me the credibility of doing something else also very good. But he didn't really listen to me. I actually reached out to managers of other departments. I think that's a very natural step. I reached out to them and realized, okay, there seems to be this groupthink that sales managers stick to what they're good at.
So just to sum it up, so you had your first sales job and you were actually good at it. But then you looked out for other opportunities to help the company solve problems, and then you realize, oh, this is actually highly correlated with the things that also product manager would do. And then you try to look internally for like opportunities, but then there was always this like core, bring us more money in because you're really good at what you're doing. And then how did you navigate this, and how did you then eventually find a job as a product manager? So you like looked internally for other teams to like join them and help them solve problems, and then you also looked externally, right?
So as a sales manager, you get a lot of LinkedIn messages and you get headhunted every day who want you to work in sales for their company. And when I failed internally, I thought, okay, maybe it works with them. So I jumped on a call with them. I said, okay, let's do it like this. I will work in sales for the first couple months, but then I want to do something else. And they said, okay, sure, but none of them actually sounded promising. It all sounded like a mask. It sounded like they're just saying this to satisfy me, and then I will stick to sales for the rest of my life. It was like this everywhere. Eventually I got so fed up that I was like, okay, fuck it. I'll just sign a contract. I got promoted. It was a very good offer, but it was sales. When I had already signed the contract, I was listening to the Startup Insider podcast because of my natural interest and curiosity for startups. And Jan, our founder, I'm looking for people, and among others, I'm looking for someone who can head the development of our platform, which is live today. Reach out to him on LinkedIn with a very plain message. Hey, I heard you're looking for people. See if there's a fit. And we jumped on a call and immediately had this connection. We both have this fascination for startup with this platform. He needed someone to put in the structure and the project management and the prioritization and stuff that's needed to develop this platform properly. And that just sounded like the role of a product manager.
One key insight I got was that to transition internally as a sales manager was super hard because the company wants you to make more money, especially when you were a good sales manager. So you looked internally and tried to figure out other opportunities, but you didn't have a supportive manager to make this cut. And then you reached out to Jan from Startup Insider, and you were super intrinsically motivated about startups, and you shared the same interest with the founder, and then you really was interested in building this platform out. And then it was just a natural transition for you then to work for him. And then it just happened to be that this is the role of a product manager, right? So you didn't envision this at the start of it kind of serendipitously and randomly you transition. Now I'm super curious to understand. Then you transition into this new role at Startup Insider as a product manager. Like, what was the main difference of being an account manager and working in sales?
Yeah, so I think the main difference is that as a sales manager, you work much in the present. There's a sales strategy lined up for you, and you just have to execute it. Your focus is on calls, on sales, on getting closing customers. Not so much on thinking about how you can actually optimize that or move to different other markets or how you can penetrate other target groups and stuff like that. So that was the key difference. I think that as a product manager, you look way more into the future. You look at how we can conquer new markets with new parts of the product. How can we optimize the product? How can we use data to optimize the product?
So the sales manager is more of a reactive nature. So there's this strategy laid out and you execute on a daily. And as a product manager, you're more proactive, trying to anticipate the future and building the right solution and attacking the right problems, right?
Very much. The ideal sales manager has no interest in changing anything, They just have to execute what's working, basically. And they have to do that with charm and a great attitude and stuff like that, but not so much this analytical, creative mindset. That's exactly what I needed in my job.
Are there things you would have done differently when you started out as a new product manager?
What I would have done differently is I always just move into challenges with a very without much of a plan. Luckily for product management, there are these best practices and frameworks. Because you have endless possibilities, so you need some sort of guideline. And I think if I had read up more on these guidelines and more about best practice product management stuff, I think I would have done a better job in the beginning. So I definitely urge people to listen to podcasts and read up on content about product management.
Do you have a specific book or a specific blog or a specific course you did at the start that really made a 10x difference?
Yeah, there's this product management. I'm a fan of podcasts, as you can tell. There's this product management podcast from Product School. It's an English-speaking podcast about the learnings of different PMs and with all different seniorities, different frameworks discussed. That's a very good one, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Last question. What are the 3 key tips you would give someone that wants to transition into a product role?
First key takeaway I learned from this is that you should always look for whether your current job is in line with your expectations and the skills you want to acquire. Maybe not your current skills, but the skills you want to acquire. And if it's not in line, you should look for something else because it won't make you happy. If there's this gap, it won't make you happy. The second one, maybe connecting to this one, is don't be fooled by good salaries or negativity or skepticism from people who wanting to hold you back because they might have their own interests. You never know what their interests are, your manager's interests are. So don't let that hold you back from looking for something that will be more in line with your skills. It sounds a bit poetic now, but keep believing in yourself, have this confidence and trust in yourself that you can actually achieve what you want to do. And what's also important is I'm lucky that I made this change very early in my career. This is my second job, and I'm very happy. Like, there's nothing else I want to do right now. And a lot of people don't have this privilege of doing it early, but I would still urge people to do it as early as they can. More you're stuck to that path, if you've heard of path dependency, like, it just makes sense that eventually you won't have these opportunities of moving out anymore now.
Thank you so much, Paul, for sharing your learnings and your story with us. If you haven't subscribed yet, smash that subscribe button, leave a like, and I would also love to understand what challenges are you currently facing with the intention of moving into a product role. Let me know down in the comments below. Get this.